The following is a live stream boomer moment.
But, here's a question for you. Have you ever heard the tale of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
Here, the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise.
Have I ever, with all due respect, sir, that's like asking if Yoda has ever heard of cocaine.
Is that why he keeps requesting?
I have a doctorate in Darth Plagueis the Wise studies and wrote my thesis on the use of dichotomy inherent within the tale, with a particular focus on the intent of the meta-narrative.
How is it possible?
Possible? At my tender age? Well, I first heard the story the moment I set foot in the Jedi Temple.
Okay.
Master Windu, as it turns out, likes telling everyone who walks in his version of events.
Darth Plagueis had an apprentice who was a little bitch and could only kill him by waiting until his master slept. It was ironic, though, because Plageius was trying to learn the secrets to immortality and was like 80% of the way there. But you know what they say? A near miss is as good as fucking up so bad. You hire an army which eventually kills you and everyone you care about.
True.
Or writing the sequel trilogy.
Master Windu utilized colorful language, coupled with many metaphors that even now I can't penetrate. But it's thanks to him I decided to devote my life to studying the tale.
What?
If you'll indulge me, Spell Chancellor, as you're no doubt well aware, on a surface pedestrian-level reading, the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise is the story of a man discovering the secret to immortality, but failing to utilize it to retain his own life. However,
No idea who
thematically, the
apprentice
story
was.
is actually about the inherent nature of duality in the day-to-day life of the average being, and the finality and inescapable reality of death, irrespective of our personal power
Anakin,
or
that's not what the
position.
story is actually
The
about.
subtextual narrative is, in my view, far more interesting than the simplistic, if you'll excuse the perhaps over-harsh critique, chronology of cause and effect present
You've
within the
thought
given
about this
tale,
way too much.
and indeed any given tale. But that's perhaps a conversation for another
And
day.
also way
Regardless,
too little.
in my view, the subtext and depth of narrative offered by
Oh
the
my
tragedy
God.
of Darth Plagueis the Wise
Yes,
is perhaps
LJ.
the greatest of any short story ever
It's not that
penned.
deep,
A
Anakin.
rich exploration of what it means to be a sapient being and the often paradoxical
This
nature
conversation
therein.
should have been
Consider,
about a minute long.
many of the activities we do to feel alive often bring us closer to, or risks, our deaths.
Maybe two, tops.
Whom amongst us has not wished for something to be over faster? Yet in so doing, are we not wishing our death closer?
He could use the Force to influence the midichlorians
Indeed.
to create life.
Well, regardless, the dichotomous nature of the tale is inherent within even the very title. Darth Plagueis is described to us as wise, and yet he underwent a tragedy.
Fortunately, he was spared the tragedy of listening.
This is only amplified by the revelation that the tragedy was of his own making.
There you go.
Functionally by his own hand and hubris. Yet, that's scarcely scratching
yes,
the surface
Buck!
of the
He became
tale.
so powerful that the only thing he was afraid
Ah, but that's just it, Chancellor. Darth Plagueis sought
Oh my
immortality,
God!
Yet, in so doing,
of. I'm
invited death.
considering inviting death myself.
This paradoxically came in the form of his apprentice, one who he should have been more learned than, and who should have been his closest confidant.
How
Oh.
much did the state spend on your
Even the
education?
Oh my
meta-narrative is
God.
underpinned with the continued use of dichotomy.
Just check.
And
It's
here,
100,000
Chancellor,
credits.
is where my expertise truly
Per
lies.
term.
We see in the way the tale is often introduced, portrayed as a Sith
For a
legend,
story about 100
which the
words
Jedi
long.
wouldn't want or be able to tell you. Functionally,
It keeps
serves as a kind
going.
of forbidden
Money well
fruit,
spent, clearly.
something you shouldn't want and
Wait,
yet do.
how did Master Windu tell you the story before? it
Finally,
happened?
there's the motif. Life and death. The tantalizing possibility of the conquest of the latter, but succumbing to
Didn't
it.
you have training?
It's
to be
my
getting on
personal
with?
opinion that the story isn't actually a mere fanciful tale, nor even
This is when Palpatine decided that he was better off without Anakin.
a sober recounting of historical events. Despite the scholarly consensus,
Scholarly
tending
consensus?
toward the former, I believe the tale is actually intended to be utilized by the apprentice of the titular Darth Plagueis the Wise, now seeking his own apprentice, utilizing the demise of his master.
That seems far-fetched.
It would, I think you'd agree, slot neatly in with the broader themes of dichotomy.
Oh
but
my
alas,
God.
At present, my theories remain on the fringes of mainstream academic discourse.
How did you find the time to
Of
do all
course,
this?
interest with respect to my school of thought, though admittedly small, is growing and currently enjoying something of a voguish je ne sais quoi.
What language was that?
And naturally, I am learned in the other schools of thought surrounding the tragedy.
Fine, I'll bite. How many schools of thought
Well,
are there?
sir, there are no small number.
Oh my
For instance,
god.
Consider, Plageius could use the Force to influence the midichlorians, yet midichlorians are what allow for the use of the Force. So Plageius was functionally using the midichlorians to influence the midichlorians. Apologies. That typically gets a laugh in the academic circles.
Oh my
Such a
God.
lens, when applied to the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise, is typically referred to as the paradoxical or tautological school of thought, wherein the themes are thought to be or
It's
abhorrent
still
in nature.
going.
That is perhaps the most mainstream.
I'm sorry, I'm still not over the timeline. Weren't you meant to be fighting in a war the majority of the past few
Apologies,
years?
I didn't mean to talk your ear off.
Yeah, you did.
Regardless, that was only a layman's summation of the overarching
Oh
thrust
my
of my
God.
thesis. I didn't want to bore you with too many details. Suffice to say that I am very much familiar with the story you brought up, and indeed, it's something of a personal passion, not to mention my life's work.
Anakin, your wife's gonna die unless you join the dark side.
Where do I sign up?
Oh, geek, that was perfect. They did not accord him the rank of master. Oh, that was stupid. That was absolutely stupid, but I feel so informed right now.